Hey guys, AB here from B&H, and today we're taking a look at some of the top synths you can buy for under $500. I want to acknowledge that this is not a be-all, end-all list. This is really a collection of synths that we put together that A, are available through B&H, so that if you watch the video and you really like what you see, you can turn around and buy one without any issue. And B, we wanted to make sure we had a cross-section of different styles of synths so you can see what kind of sonic power you can get under the $500 price point. The synths we ended up choosing are the Roland JDXI, the Korg MS-20 Mini, the Roland D05 linear synthesizer, the Korg Volca FM, and last but not least, the Pocket Operator from Teenage Engineering. Let's start off with the Roland JDXI synthesizer. This is an interactive crossover synth. There are actually 4 independent sound engines, 2 digital sound engines, which showcase a lot of the supernatural sounds with 128-note polyphony. There is an analog engine, which is really showcasing lead and bass sounds. Then you have the drum engine, which has a lot of the sounds from Roland's classic groove boxes and drum machines, 808s, 909s, CR78. Once you hear the kicks and the snares and the hi-hats, you'll know right away that you're dealing with professional drum sounds. So there are 4 dedicated effects engines. The first 2 deal with things like compression, bit crushing, flanging, phasing, and a few others. The third effect engine is a dedicated delay engine, and the 4th is strictly reverb, so you can really dial in as much or as little as you want. There's also a 4-track pattern sequencer and USB connectivity for audio and MIDI communication with your computer and DAW. Another great feature on the JDXI is the vocoder auto pitch section. A vocoder is an instrument that lets you synthesize your voice, then use the keys on the keyboard to play the different notes of your synthesized voice. Roland includes a gooseneck mic for the vocoder. Let's give the vocoder a little whirl here.
Let's make it funky in here, baby. Let's make it funky.
Anyway, another good thing about the vocoder is that on the back panel of the JDXI, we've got a 1/4-inch input for high Z and line level instruments. So if you wanted to route an external microphone or a guitar into the vocoder, you can, and you can mangle those sounds to your heart's desire. If you want a great instrument with tons of sounds for all kinds of productions, the Roland JDXI is hard to beat. And now for something totally different, the MS-20 Mini, which is an analog, subtractive, monophonic synthesizer based on Korg's very famous MS-20. In fact, the original engineers of the MS-20 oversaw the production of the Mini, so you know they weren't playing around. The Mini is identical to the original MS-20. However, there are a couple structural differences. The Mini is about 86% the size of the original MS-20, which I think is pretty cool because that means that you have all that power in a slightly smaller form factor. So if you've been looking for a desktop analog synthesizer that sounds fantastic, this might fit your workstation. The other difference happens on the back of the keyboard. You'll notice that there's a 5-pin MIDI in jack, which is for receiving note messages, and there's a USB jack for receiving and transmitting MIDI note messages. The original MS-20 was really famous for its self-oscillating filter section, and the Mini is no different. The high-pass and low-pass filters are really great, and when used in tandem, you often create a bandpass effect, which adds a lot of aggression to the sounds that you're playing. What's more, if you take advantage of the really flexible patch bay on the MS-20 Mini, you can really create some dirty sounds. Why don't we take a listen? Another great feature of the MS-20 Mini is the external signal processor. You can take an outside signal, plug it into the keyboard, and use the filters to create some really cool effects. So once again, if you're looking for a really great analog monophonic synthesizer with a powerful filter section, check out the MS-20 Mini. The next keyboard comes from Roland's boutique line of synths, and we chose the D05 linear synthesizer, which is really a replica of the D50. In fact, you can take D50 patches and import them into the D05, which gives you even more sonic possibilities. What's great about this keyboard is that if you like 80s or 90s music or movies from that era, like I do because I'm old, you will love the sounds on this keyboard. Very lush, very usable, very powerful, and pretty versatile. Additionally, the D05 has an integrated 64-step polyphonic sequencer, an arpeggiator, and reprogrammable patterns for each patch. For example, here's a patch called Neo Horizon. Just as with the D50, the D05 has a joystick, and you can assign different parameters to the joystick to come up with some really creative options. There are also two touch strips on the left side. One is for pitch bending, and the other is for modulation effects. The D05 does run off of USB power, but it is also capable of running on 4 AA batteries, which means it's a very portable, powerful, miniature synthesizer that you can take with you anywhere. You may notice that there are no keys attached to the D05. Certainly this is compatible with Roland's K25M miniature keyboard, but I would suggest using an external MIDI controller like we are to get the best playability out of this box. Next we have the Korg Volca FM, which is a 3-voice polyphonic FM synthesizer based on the DX7. In fact, you can import DX7 patches into the Volca FM. The Volca FM also has a 16-step sequencer which allows you to record your performances. This is something that's really useful if you're somebody who plays live a lot. Other features include a great chorus effect, syncability with other models in the Volca line, a built-in speaker, and 27 integrated keys. Now, like the Roland D05, the keys on the Volca FM are really small. They're good for single melody lines, but if you really want to get the best playability out of the Volca FM, we recommend using an external MIDI keyboard. The built-in sounds of the Volca FM are great, and you can use them for a number of different styles of music, from electric pianos to distorted sounds. You name it. The real power of this unit is revealed when you get into reprogramming and customizing the algorithms. Korg provides a convenient placard which shows you just how deep you can dive into making this a truly unique synthesizer. Last but certainly not least, the pocket operator from Teenage Engineering. Why would I choose something so small to be part of this list of synthesizers? Well, they sound great, they're very portable, and they're very inexpensive. You could buy up to 10 of these depending on which model and still not break the $500 price point. These things are really fun to use. They've got an animated display, which makes it really easy to see what's going on when you're making music, and all the buttons pretty much make sense. Once you get to know how to use one pocket operator, you can apply that knowledge to all the other models. Let's take a closer look at this one. This is the PO12 Rhythm, which essentially is a drum machine that can fit in the palm of your hand. Don't let the size of this thing fool you. Even though it's small, it has a lot of powerful sounds that rival those on much more expensive machines. Let's take a closer look. There are 16 built-in sounds, ranging from bass drum to snare, hi-hat, and just a little sample of a quick pattern I put together before the video. The PO12 Rhythm features a 16-step sequencer with 16 patterns, jam sync to link it to other pocket operators, 3.5mm in and out jacks, a built-in stand, and a speaker. And these are features that you're going to find on pretty much every other pocket operator. So once again, if you're looking for a synthesizer that's really small but powerful, the pocket operators are a good choice. You can use them standalone, with each other, or as part of your entire music production ecosystem. So as you can see, when it comes to buying synthesizers, you don't always have to spend big bucks to get a big sound. Music making is all about choice and application. You choose the right gear, you learn how to use it, and you get creative. For more information on these and other models, go to bhphoto.com. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. This is AB, and I'll see you next time.